Friends, happy Easter. It is April 17th, 2022. Virtual Strangers, episode 147. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, happy Easter, friend.
Yeah, happy Easter to you as well. Can't believe we made it. I was just thinking of the last time we did Easter. Well, I guess it wasn't last time. My most memorable Easter moment was the bunny rabbits giving birth. I thought about resurfacing that video, but I thought, that was it was 3 years ago. We'll leave it 3 years ago, but super cool. Good memory. I like it.
I was wondering if you were going to remember that. For those of you who haven't been following the channel from its inception, I think it was probably our first Easter that it was just me and Ruuts. Ruuts was just learning how to, have cool backgrounds going on behind him, and he thought it would be nice for Easter to have live bunny rabbits behind him. What he didn't realize, he didn't watch the video before he put it back there, because as we got about halfway through our first topic, the bunny rabbit started giving birth. So we had live bunny rabbit birth behind him, and it was just a beautiful moment for our show's history, and probably the most memorable Easter moment or the only memorable Easter moment that I can recall when I think back across our 3 years.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Live birth was not on my menu for the day, but it was cool. I remember PD's reaction specifically, but it was cool. It was watching the chat freaking out, and I was like, what is everybody like laughing about? And then it was cool.
My wife didn't stop laughing for a week. I mean, she just every time she thought about it, she just I bet you she's watching this right now and just dying thinking about it. Because it was so hilarious. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it's giving birth. It's like, oh, there's blood. Oh,
It was like,
oh,
oh
what
my
is that?
god.
It
Insane.
was great, man. It was one of those great memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Felipe says, happy Easter all. Throwing a 2-spot. We appreciate you, Felipe. Actually, Felipe, I don't know if I told you this. I told Mash. He whispered me, or actually I whispered him and told him I couldn't believe he was in with the riffraff of not in the Sams. And he offered to do what he's doing for Mash's channel on Reddit and created a page for Virtual Strangers. And he's been mirroring.
Nice.
He's going to start mirroring every episode like he did the last 4. And so he's going to kind of reach out and try to help spread the news for Virtual Strangers. So that's what we need. We need everybody out there. I noticed like a video as I was putting stuff up to Anchor today. Say, wow, we got 600 views on it. And it was like maybe a month ago. It was like 50 likes. I was like, wow, man. Like, I mean, obviously, you guys do what you're going to do. But we'd appreciate a little bit more likes. Maybe double that would be amazing. So.
Well, I appreciate any kind of promotion that people want to help with regards to social media and Reddit, especially because they frown upon self promotion there. So I only go there very rarely. Typically, if I have something pre-recorded, I'll take it over there and share it. Because some people like the live stuff better for whatever reason. I have to really try with the pre-recorded stuff, which is weird because that's like some of our best stuff. When we do something that's not live, it's a special episode, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We found that out early on, right? How freaked out Reddit gets. Like, how dare you self-promote, you piece of shit? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I just wanted people to see the show. But yeah, so I definitely appreciate that, Felipe. It really helps more than you know. So
Very much appreciate all the help, all the promotion you guys want to give us. So, Spry Guy in the chat, or I guess Radio Rat said, yo, early show. And it is an early show. And, with it being Easter, we obviously have things going on today. I've got family stuff. You've got family stuff. Masher, happy Easter, Masher, on his way out of town to a better place, the promised land, Florida Roots, that they call it. But my initial instinct was to just not do a show today. I just wasn't going to do a show. We have too much stuff going on. don't really have time to do a show. And then this Wednesday, West Day, if you will, on
Mhm.
420, we have a very special show coming up. As instead of doing Strangers in the Night, we're going to be on in the early afternoon, about this time actually, as we're going to live react to the Meta Gaming Showcase. Um, so I was going to just cancel today, but as I got looking at the news for the week, one of our friends has a special announcement. Another one of our friends has a special announcement. Another one of our friends has a special announcement. It was a great week for VR gaming news. So here we are, and the plan is we're just hitting the bare bone essentials this week, guys. This is going to be a short show. Um, no metaverse headlines this week. No hardware talk this week. It's going to be kind of like what it used to be like, Roots. We're just going to talk games and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. That's actually we're gonna bust it out, and like Wes, it wouldn't have felt right to not be here at least for an hour or so. And what's good is the patrons, man. I noticed as I was putting the show together, and usually it's the opposite. You know, there's this little section for the cutting room floor. The cutting room floor looked like a full show, man. So you patrons out there, you're getting go check it out. You're gonna see an amazing show that could have been here if it was a normal day.
Yeah, yeah. The show notes, not lacking at all for you patrons out there. It's just moved around a little bit. So, as Roots was saying, you know, we cut a lot from the day's show just so that we can cover the bare essentials and be on our way. But as usual, if it gets cut, it ends up on the cutting room floor, and that's where you'll find it at. And I think there's probably 20 or 30 stories down there on the cutting room floor. A couple of big numbers this week. Um, I mean, there's a lot to look at down there. So you patrons who want to stay in the know, just check out your show notes. It's all in there like it always is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wasn't always there. That's what I love about Wes is he keeps adding. I mean, he's really making this patron worthwhile. You know what I mean? Before it was like, we kind of felt guilty. It's like we're not giving them enough. Now Wes is making sure they get enough, more than enough, and we'll probably end up adding more. Alex VR says he wants to see virtual strangers on Between Realities, and I answered, we would love to come on the show for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime, Fred. Just say the word. We're always down to talk VR, especially with good people like yourself and our good friend Skiva. So yeah, man, just hit us up. You know where to find us. We'll come on anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um. Anyway, with that said, I guess we need to kick it off like we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. Radio Runt, we already said hello to. He said just out of shape, walking up the dunes. I feel you there, bro. I feel you. Like I've been playing In Death Unchained. They just opened up their season 5, as we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes, and I've been playing it a little bit. And dude, I can only do about 3 of those things, and I gotta I gotta take a break. Like I'm getting old, brother, and you know, maybe I'm gonna go back to flat gaming soon. If I'm either gonna get in shape or I'm gonna start playing Elden Ring or something.
You know what you need to do is you need to get some training from Michelle on Supernatural. Have her take you in there, and because there's those I mean, that's actually a really amazing program, and she's been busting it out so much. She's probably expert, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're paying for it. I might as well use it, right?
Yeah, it is. It's one of the best, if not the best, workout program I've ever done. I love it.
Yeah, she daily, multiple times a day, actually. Normally 2 or 3 times a day, she's doing that thing. So you're probably right. Probably would be very useful and helpful to me if I would just dedicate myself to doing something like that. But you know how it goes. It's always the hardest part's getting started, right?
Yeah, and it's also it is absolutely, but it's also you've got so many things also on your plate. That's what I always try to explain to people like Mash or whoever. Well, Mash understands. Usually you're running a little bit behind because it's not just you've got kids coming to you with all sorts of things. You got I mean, you're always doing stuff at home. It's not like you just come home and hit VR. You squeeze in VR where you get a chance, right? So
That's it. That's it. And we've been able to squeeze in a little bit last couple of days. I was playing. I went back into Green Hell this morning, dude, and that game is dark, brother. I love it. I mean, I don't. Let me rephrase that. I love the tone of it. I love the story of it. I was all driven to progress the story, and then I got smacked in the face with a hard dose of survival, and ended up vomiting for about 10 minutes straight in that game, trying to get myself healthy and trial and error. Everything that I could find, I was throwing in my mouth, and it was just making things worse. But I love the dark tone of the story, man. Like as suspected, it didn't quite work out for the lady like she had planned.
I bet. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. That story is definitely crazy. And do you know who else will put anything in their mouth?
My
I do.
Try to tell her it's not a good idea.
Cubo92 is here. He says, Happy Easter to everyone who celebrates it. I say Happy Easter to everyone. Even if they don't celebrate it, I'm celebrating it. So Happy Easter, everyone. D-Rail is in the house. Happy birthday, Roddy Pipper. Roddy
Piper.
Piper. It's Roddy Piper's birthday. Thank
Oh,
you
wow.
for your sacrifice to reveal the aliens living among us. And they do live. They live among us. Ruuts.
Such an amazing movie, even today. Oh, a little cheesy, though. The fight scenes are ridiculous.
That's from the 80s. What do you expect?
Yeah. Good movie, though.
Yeah, very good. Chinatown D is here. She says, yeah, I can only do a couple runs in Siege of Heaven with the bow. My go-to is the crossbow. I don't think I've used that crossbow maybe once or twice. And I'm not just talking about Siege of Heaven. I'm talking about In-Depth Unchained, period. I look at it as like cheating almost. Like,
yeah, well, it's a good reason when you're so tired you still want to play, but you know what I mean? Now you're not really cheating. You're just kind of, kicking your feet up, taking it easy.
Well, here's the weird thing, Roots. Well, I'll wait. We're going to talk about Siege of Heaven in just a minute. I don't want to do it in the intro. I have a couple of interesting things to add about that though. Hussein X is here. He says, "Hi, people. Hi, Mepper. Hi, AD. What's up, Hussein X? Thanks for joining us." Mind Jive is here. What's up, friend? Diz the Game Cat says, "Yo, what's good, strangers? What's good, Diz?" Alex VR, we already said hello to. He says we got to get that on the calendar. Agreed, friend. Just let us know what day you pick. We're there, brother.
Absolutely.
Onukazi, I think he's singing the bare necessities from the Jungle
yeah.
Book.
Oh, who isn't
The
singing the
bare
necessities?
the simple bare necessities. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: did the bear have a coconut bra in the thing in the movie? Because I remember him having it in there, but they say it was never there. Now it's a different show, more like the Skiva Anthony and Roots show or whatever it was called. But it's weird, right?
Well, I have a mental picture of it, but I'm not sure that maybe you just put that there in my head.
Well, it's possible. I'll tell you what, man, that's what I remember, and they say it never happened. So it's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many. We could do a show on that, right? On Mandela Effect.
Yeah, is it bullshit or not? That's part of me believes both. So,
well, I mean, it's a real effect. It's just what's causing it. That's the question.
yeah.
But Mickey Barrios said, "What number show was it so I could watch it later?" All right, so I guess I'm getting in on a conversation here. I don't know. We'll get around to figuring out what that means, I guess, after the show here. Hit me up, Mickey, and we'll help you figure out whatever show it is that. Or he says, I'll have to catch the show later because I have family visiting. Okay. Well, I understand that completely, friend. Thanks for just stopping by and saying hello.
If it's this episode, it's 147 you're looking for.
Felipe D. Will on the bus goes round and round. Laras said, "Hey, and bye, all. Got to go to the family for Easter." Yeah. Yep. That's what I expected. Spry Guy's here, though. Anytime we go early, we can count on Spry Guy to be here, Roots. Every time.
Absolutely. I want to know where Kyle is. I haven't seen Kyle. Felipe's alter ego.
You know, Kyle just, shows up when he wants to. Right?
Yeah, I think he legitimately.
This man legitimately thinks that he is better than us.
Yeah. Or at least Felipe. He thinks he's better than Felipe.
You know what?
For sure.
You know what's cool, though? I mean, Kyle might not be here, Jim Hall's here.
Oh
That's
yeah,
pretty awesome, right?
that is. I love Jim. We've been playing Fortnite. I won't go on a side thing because I could, but it was actually really fun. Cool. With no building.
Got to get warmed up, bro. Get warmed up and ready for that Fortnite PSVR 2 coming in the near future. I'd
Yeah.
bet on it.
I bet on it too.
Decepticon. Oh, what's up, Decepticon? Got VR Legs is here, as is Guido7335. What's up, friend? Big Show. Well, it's the Big Show. What's up, Big Show? He says, howdy, can't wait for Into the Radius on Quest 2. Yes, Into the Radius looks solid on Quest 2. I can't wait to check that out myself. I think, Four Wheeling's up there. What's up, Four Wheeling? All right, and I think that's going to be it. I'm surprised, Roots. I wasn't expecting too many people to show up this early on Easter. I'm happy. I'm happy you guys are representing and come out to spend a few minutes with us, talk about VR before we go, live it up, have dinner with our families, and appreciate life all around. Hey, what's up? Michelle B says no sound.
I was just gonna say we got a problem, Wes. So apparently we've had no sound this whole time, even though I guarantee we have, because we would have had people screaming within 5 seconds. There's no sound, and then even when we started talking, people would still be screaming it in the chat that there's no sound. But I think maybe you just refresh or check your thing. Maybe it's muted or.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up? EV Man versus Gas sliding in here. I think we have sound. The screen says we have sound. So press the mute button. Well, I guess we should probably type it to her.
Yeah. Hey, let me explain to you. And maybe she's read lips. Derail says he read lips, so you're good. Derail's good. Derail, you're awesome, man. You've been helping people left and right get PlayStation 5s. You've sent me that cool Roots statue. I mean, you've even let me use your Steven Crowder thing. I mean, you rock, bro.
Yeah, Four Wheeling says it sounds good. So I think we're all set, ready to go, and ready to talk a little VR, Roots. Let's do it.
When you drift in space, be careful where you send distress calls, because it can be heard. Jump. Shoot. Explore. Yupitergrad 2.
This story comes courtesy of Jamie Feltham at Upload VR. Game Dust just announced Yupitergrad 2, The Lost Station, coming to Quest and PC VR soon. As with the first game, Yupitergrad 2 sees players swinging through a space station using 2 makeshift grappling hooks, which are really plungers on ropes, to move between locations. Whereas the first game had a linear campaign, Game Dust says the sequel will be a Metroidvania style game in which players will upgrade their gear and use it to unlock new areas. The trailer shows a similar animated art style to the original, complete with some new features. There are now enemy drones, for example, which you can take down with wrist-mounted machine guns. Roots, this was one of our favorites of, I think it was last year that came out, and maybe it was in 2019. This game was a surprise to us. It kind of dropped out of nowhere and quickly became our favorite at the time grappling title. as it was basically a challenging retro style platforming game is pretty much what it was. It was all the challenge was timing based. It was extremely linear and extremely fun. It launched, I think, for $15 on all platforms, and obviously, it didn't launch on all platforms concurrently, but eventually, it came to all platforms, even PlayStation VR, for the $15, and oftentimes going on sale for 10. And the game has seen tremendous support with many, many free content DLCs being added. Um, to the game just for an amazing value for a very fun to play game. But when we reviewed this, I mean, we had some very specific things on our wish list. And from the looks of this trailer and this information, they hit almost all of them here, man. This looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Diz says, looks decent. I can't. I watched a different trailer, Diz, man. The guns, the shooting. I love this game to begin with because it was unique. The only this first type of platform I've ever played that I could swing around, and it was different. Going into these areas, seeing these blades spinning, knowing that I had to somehow squeeze in between them and make it, trying to figure out which way to go. Super cool. Then they added content, races, and other things that just made it even more of an amazing game for $15. And now this, you get in like you were saying during the trailer, a Metroid style game, right? Metroidvania, I guess. And so that alone is going to be amazing. And I don't know, man. It just looks really cool to me.
Yeah, it's cool that it isn't just linear anymore. That we're going to be truly exploring this space station, and everything that we loved about the original is still here. The amazing art style is still here. The set and setting of this space station still here, and I'm sure that the humor that the game was known for still here. The and probably the best thing about the original, the handling and the controls, still among the best with regards to this grappling. All that's still here. What I would expect is you're probably going to get a little bit more gameplay out of this. It wasn't the longest game. I think you could finish it in a few hours. Uh, this one's going to be a bit longer as it isn't linear anymore. And, the biggest addition, obviously, enemies and combat, which is going to bring the challenge and ultimately the fun level up to a whole new level. So if Diz says it looks decent, I wonder if Diz played the original
Ooh.
because I think that we think it looks amazing because we loved the original. I'd be interested to know if Diz played the original, and if so, what he thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I don't think that he probably, maybe he did. I don't know. Alien Cara threw me for a loop when I was saying you probably haven't tried Swarm, and they were like, I hate it. I was like, what? Can't believe that.
Yeah, I guess we all have different tastes, right? But no, man, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that we're getting an awesome sequel from Game Dust. Obviously, um, Yupitergrad, their most critically acclaimed VR game to date. So it would make sense that they would want to come back to the title or to the IP rather and give us more of a full-fledged title that they can charge a little bit more money for. But I'm a little bit surprised that it's coming so quickly. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I'm thinking maybe October that we got the latest DLC for this game, and it was substantial. I think it added 10 more time trials and a couple of new game modes, if I recall correctly. So obviously, the whole time that they've been creating all of this bonus content for the original, they've been working in the background here on this sequel.
Yeah, they must have been, or really able to crank this out. I mean, they did do DLC and everything, and all they would have to do really is just add guns, enemies, completely different. Probably, I don't know. Do you upgrade your weapons and stuff? I'm assuming, or doesn't say in this, does it?
Doesn't say. Doesn't
Okay.
say. I don't know. I don't know if you can upgrade your weapons. Maybe that'll be part 3. Diz said Diz did play the original. but it didn't blow his mind. He said it was okay, and this looks a little better.
Mm.
Um, he says maybe with multiplayer, I'd be sold.
Mm.
So, well, at the top, when I said that they've pretty much added almost everything that we asked for,
That's it.
the reason that almost was put in there is because the other thing that we wanted was co-op gameplay.
They got time
And
trials.
no,
You could race against each other.
yeah, that's not what
It's
we
not the
want.
same.
That's not what we want. You know, hopefully that all of these Gen 1 VR devs are listening. And if that's the case, as we move into the next generation, every game is going to have co-op because it's basically the one thing everyone's asked for it with every release. Can we have co-op, please?
It
The
makes
Walking Dead, can we have co-op, please?
it makes it
Everything, can we have
amazing.
co-op?
Makes an amazing game even more amazing. Like Returnal is like it doubled. I mean, it was already amazing, and now it doubled as amazing. And we need to get in there, Wes, because Mash and I went on that against that first boss, and we threw everything. We, of course, it's harder to build a good run because you're splitting some of the parasites and that kind of stuff. But we didn't beat the boss. We came close. But one thing I did notice in that trailer, and somebody mentioned this when Mash was showing this trailer on his QTC VR Gamer the other night. He said, "Well, where's the acting is different. It doesn't sound like a cosmonaut anymore." And somebody said Russia's canceled, and so I guess maybe they just said, we better use a different voice actor, not do, you know what I mean? Because regardless of, this is a game, a comedy. It actually makes fun of Russia in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
don't let that deter you. They're gonna make fun of Russia and how weird they are, and they're using plungers for freaking things, man. How ancient are they? Right? Archaic.
Yeah. That was basically what the entire humor of the first title revolved around, was making fun of the old Soviet attitude and the old Soviet system. Everything's broken and everyone's dead, basically because of stupidity on the part of the Russian command. So yeah, I wouldn't get too hung up on that. And even if you are like completely emotionally invested in what the news is bringing us these days, I would just remind everyone that that the common people in any country aren't necessarily represented faithfully by their government. So,
Mm,
like, I don't think that most of the Russian people over there actually uh, are happy with the state of affairs in the world today, just like we aren't, just like any of the other, like the Chinese people. Obviously, they're not uh, content with the state of the world. We're just all largely powerless
mm.
to control what these assholes are doing to our world. So yeah, I try to stay open minded with stuff like that, and obviously we all want the war to end. Um, but we have a lot of friends over there, and I don't want to just all of a sudden start treating them like enemies
Mm.
just because there's one asshole at the top who wants to
Screw
murder
everybody.
innocents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that being said, we'll slide away from this topic because we actually got a warning, or not a warning, but like a weird notice last time. We even just talked about it because you're not
Yeah.
allowed to talk about stuff on YouTube anymore. We're sorry, YouTube. We're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. We said too much. We said the R word, Roots.
Not
We're
allowed
gonna
to.
get banned.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we got a what was it? A review on our ad suitability
Oh,
last
yeah.
time we talked about this stuff, and it was immediate. It was like immediate. So I just turned ads off for that one and told them to stick it up their ass. So
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
we got another one.
yeah. Anyway, we got lots of other cool stuff to talk about. Anyway, for what it's worth, extremely excited about Yupitergrad 2. There's a reason
yeah.
why I led the show off with it. I think it looks amazing, and I can't wait to play it. This one from Kyle Melnick, VR Scout. Fans of hardcore survival shooters are in for a treat. Originally released in July of 2020, Into the Radius is an open world survival shooter similar to popular titles like Stalker, Escape from Tarkov, and DayZ. Set in an abandoned mining town filled with otherworldly dangers, the game combines physics based interactions, realistic weaponry, and loot based gameplay to deliver a suspenseful single player experience on PC VR headsets. Earlier this week, developer CM Games announced that Into the Radius is coming to MetaQuest 2 later this year, allowing you to explore the mysterious Pechorsk Radius Zone without the need of a beefy gaming PC. The Quest version is being developed by a separate studio and will feature a near identical experience to its PCVR counterpart in terms of content and gameplay. Based on the footage provided, it appears as though the biggest difference will be that of visual quality. Now, that's according to this article, Roots. And while, yes, I would say obviously it is noticeable uh, the difference graphically between the PC version and the Quest version, but that's only because the PC version has gone on to become so beautiful as they have completely revamped it on more than one occasion from a graphical standpoint. But from what we're seeing here, um, this Quest version doesn't look bad at all. Um, Not only graphically, but it looks like they pretty much have nailed the essence of this game. It looks like a very faithful recreation of what is one of the better games on PC VR.
Yeah, yeah, this game was already amazing. The fact that they're able to get it to run on Quest 2 is phenomenal. Like PD was saying, it's just crazy how much work they've done to make it. I mean, they took the original game, which was a little bit had a little bit of jank in the beginning, and they polished it and they changed it. And I say this, I feel like I'm saying this every week now, Wes. But I really want to drum it into the developers' heads that don't realize this. But the good developers, and this could be you, listen to the people out there and the criticism, and they fix it and they change it and they tweak it, and they make an amazing game, or a phenomenal game. And this game is one of them. So I can't wait to see how well it is received on the Quest 2. It's the only Stalker game in VR that I know of, right? So
Right. And you said it was a little janky at first. It was more than a little janky. It was a utter jank fest when we first played this beta version of Into the Radius. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have never seen a game uh, with as much improvement as Into the Radius from the time that I first played it to the time that I most recently played it. Uh, it's almost like a completely different game. Like the first game seemed really, really indie, and you could still see tell bits of that indie foundation that it's built on, uh, especially when you're talking about things like the UI in the game. But the world itself, like basically all of the assets in the game have been remade over again more than once, and it's just beautiful now. And beyond, what it looks like graphically, this game is all about the gameplay. It's high intensity at times, but what really defines this experience is tension. Like most of the game you're playing, it's a stealth game. Like you don't want the things that live in this world to notice you, but they do. And when they do, that's when the high intensity comes in. It's a survival game, Roots. I mean, at its core, it's a survival shooter, which typically isn't my favorite thing. But it just works here. They found a formula that works, and I haven't played Stalker before, so I'm not familiar with this kind of game. But this was one of those games that Scion insisted that we play and then replay and revisit with each update. And man, I spent some real time in it this past year, in the second half of 2021. And I really enjoyed it a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it turns out like on the Quest 2. And if it's as good as it appears to be through this footage and from what this article says, the Quest uh, owners are in for a treat because this is unlike anything in that catalog up to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. PD says, or Paradise TK says, I have to admit I was not a fan of this game on first release, but the devs have turned it into a classic, and you have to commend them for that. So
Absolutely.
I had to correct
Absolutely.
myself there, Paradise TK. I started thinking while I was about to say that. I will always say PD, and maybe somebody stumbled onto the podcast and they don't know who PD is, which I think that's kind of ridiculous that I even came out of my mouth. But they know who Paradise Decay is for sure.
PD says that's why No Man's Sky is so good, isn't that right, Wes? We give credit where credit's due with Hello Games and No Man's Sky. They continue to support that game all these years on. That's the reason why we named our year-end award for best ongoing support. We named it the Hello Games Award because of the unheard of level of support that Hello Games continues to give No Man's Sky. But what CM Games has done with Into the Radius is a bit different. That they're not just going in and adding things to it like, oh, you like mechs? Well, now there's mechs. Oh, you like animals? Well, now you have pets. You like playing Star Wars? Well, here's some spaceships for you. That's not what they've done here. They've taken their original game and redone it and made it better and better and better with each iteration. Everything from the tutorial to the main gameplay loop, um, everything completely remade over and improved upon um, in a very profound way. So, uh, while yes, I recognize the incredible amount of support that No Man's Sky has gotten, um, to me, it's still just okay. It's just not my type of game. Where if I want to play a survival game, I want to play a game like Into the Radius or Solus Project for that matter. That's what I was telling Brian Paul the other day off air. It was like, man, if I want to go into outer space and have to survive on a planet and explore, I want to do it in a game like the Solus Project, where there's actually a little bit of story and some other things going on that interest me.
Yeah, there's got to be some story for sure.
Yeah. Kazi says I need to go back and spend some time on it. I won this game in one of the first few episodes that he started watching Virtual Strangers, but hasn't tried it since version 2.0. It's really good. Really with a game like Into the Radius, it's all about staying in the game long enough to get comfortable with the game's mechanics and the game's systems. Like there's a lot going on here. This game has a lot of depth. And it takes a while to learn all that stuff and how it works. And I'm saying this like I'm some kind of expert. I'm not. I really just have enough base knowledge to survive and go on and really learn how to progress in the game. But it takes a while to get there, man. You got to put some hours into it before you really get comfortable. The good thing is that they've improved it enough to make it now like before you couldn't really get that kind of time into the game because of the jank or it really just wasn't that fun to play at the beginning. The tutorial, I mean, I had countless times that the game would just crash on me in the tutorial.
Or you got stuck that one time,
Before,
right? Something happened and you
yeah,
couldn't progress. I think you couldn't reload your gun, maybe. I don't know. And
right,
then there's the
yeah,
knife, throwing the knife that supposedly was just me and you.
right, right. There was all kinds of stuff like that a long time ago. None of that stuff's there now. I actually enjoy playing the most recent iteration of the tutorial that I tried. I think they've even redone it again since then.
Ooh.
But I enjoyed just playing around and learning the weapon mechanics in the training missions. The last time I played it, so they've really improved upon every single aspect of the game. And again, if they're able to recreate that on Quest, um, I think it's going to be a hit. I think it's not going to take very long for people to find out what a great game it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ape says the tough part with these changes is that early game reviews are no longer valid, but people still read them. The game often doesn't get the credit for these improvements, and that's one of the reasons why we do the show. Is we want to showcase, we want to be that go between, let the people know about the games and developers and the changes and all that stuff. So
Onakazi said, after the tutorial, the atmosphere filled me with dread. I had to play something a little bit more upbeat. Well, if you don't enjoy being filled with dread, probably not the game for you, because you stay filled with dread. These anomalies, the enemies in this game are just frightening, and I'm not just talking about the ones that come after you, like the early enemies, but like I think it's called a mimic or something like that. The ones that are kind of like humanoid. When you get close to them, again, you're stealthing your way through, trying to be not noticed by these things. But you'll get close to them and you'll start hearing them whisper stuff and whisper things to you. And it's just so creepy, dude. It's so creepy. And then when they find you, it's game on, man. You better be on your game or you're going to be dead quick. Um, so yeah, it's a game that rewards perseverance. It rewards patience and being thorough with your exploration, because it is difficult. It helps to find as much guns, ammo, medical supplies, food, what have you. As much of that stuff as you can find, you'll need, and it's very helpful. So yeah, it's a stealth-based looter shooter at its core. It's very good, and I highly recommend it for those of you out there who are not faint of heart, because again, um, it's an intense game, and as Onakazi said, it fills you with dread. I think it's a good description.
yeah, that's definitely shows a game that can make you feel like that. Shows they did a good job, right?
Yep. Just said I noped out of Into the Radius, didn't hook me fast enough. Um, well, I will say this: if that was one of the earlier versions, you should check it out again. It's a different game now. Um, yeah, but it does take a while. It isn't something you're going to be comfortable with after like an hour. You're going to have to put a few hours into it to really learn the game and what it takes to progress. There's multiple maps. Like I thought it was just all in this one little area that like on the original map. But after you progress in that a little bit, you unlock new areas that you can go to, Roots.
Oh,
It's really cool.
that is really cool. So are you saying my way of doing stealth games of pretending that the person's not there and just trying to run real quick isn't going to work in this game?
Well, you're gonna run. You're gonna run. But no, you're not gonna run past anything, and you're not gonna run for very far because there are invisible
Anomalies.
things everywhere that will kill you. Yeah,
You got to throw
like
those things out, right? Probe form.
a little bit. In the beginning, I was under the impression that you had to do more of that. And I was literally throwing one every couple seconds. It's not like that. You can pretty well
Kind of see it a little bit.
see where things are supposed to, where you should walk and where you shouldn't walk. And after you go out a few times, you kind of get a feel for what the basic path that you should follow to go to certain areas is.
I'm scared already.
But yeah, at first, I mean, you're afraid to take a step because those things could be anywhere.
Well, and what you said is true, because what I ended up doing is I get something starts chasing me and I just start running willy-nilly, and then I run right into an anomaly, and I thought the thing chasing me was fucking me up or going to, and this thing all of a sudden I'm dead. Like, 'cause you have to take those things seriously, right? You can't just run into the middle of them. It's crazy.
Yeah. When something gets like when an enemy gets right up on you, you just have to fight pretty much. So, like if you're going to take off running, you're going to die. So you just have to shoot or stab or throw your knife or do something to try to fight the thing off.
So EV Man,
EV
what?
Man
Oh, go ahead. I'll let you read it.
EV Man versus Guest says, "Is there anything new and improved in the Quest 2 version over the PC version?" We don't know yet. We don't have the game yet. Obviously, it was just announced. I'd be surprised if that were the
Mm.
case, but we don't know yet. We've seen it before where a second party takes a game and then improves upon it. The next game that we're about to talk about is actually a really good example of that.
Yep.
So salutis et il tutis nihil contrariam et affectus et effectus Seppellina Gallia ac in hora sine mora. Fortune blanca dolera. Still
Hands down, the best archery game in VR. Just got better. This from Harry Baker at Upload VR. A new update, which just came to In Death Unchained, will begin the game's 5th season and includes a bunch of new content to the game's Siege of Heaven game mode. Back in December 2020, In Death Unchained launched Siege of Heaven, a wave based mode that sees you defending against enemies in shorter, more focused rounds of gameplay. This is very different to In Death's main game mode, where you explore levels and fight off enemies in a roguelike format, dying and repeating over and over again to get further than you did last time. The new updates to Siege of Heaven add 2 more maps to the wave based mode based off the Desolation world, which was added to the main campaign in October 2021. Not only will these new maps be set in the Desolation environments, but they will feature the same enemies from that area as well. One of the 2 new maps features the first 360-degree level, requiring you to defend from waves of enemies spawning from all angles. As you can see from the trailer, these new environments look absolutely fantastic and feature some stunning lighting and effects. This is thanks to new real-time lighting system and volumetric fog effects that were implemented last October alongside Desolation. Plus, players will now be able to select their starting special arrow for all Siege of Heaven runs, plus work to unlock 15 new achievements added to the mode. In Death first release for PC VR was ported and updated for Quest in 2020 and released as In Death Unchained. Since then, the Quest release has received several exclusive updates, surpassing the PC VR version and offering much more new content. Roots, it's absurd just how much better this Quest version of In Death is to the very much beloved original on PC VR and PlayStation VR. This game has been one of the best in the Quest catalog for a very long time, and it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were saying that between during the trailer. It's not even about between PC and Quest anymore. Like this game is like one of the best Quest two games. Period. Like D says, whenever anybody's talking about a shooter, she leads them to this. Is the best example of archery. And who was it? Ian the Icon says we need more Quest games that look like this. Story driven, maybe from Vertical Robot. It's got everything, the mechanics, the gameplay. They've added everything it had at first. When it first came out, when it was on PC VR, it was a good game. It was really good, but it didn't have that draw you in. Like this is just a phenomenal game, and if you don't have In Death Unchained, I question your soul. Like, what's wrong with you? Come on, man.
Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
come on, man. I mean, not even considering the Siege of Heaven game mode, which is exclusive to this Quest version. If you're just looking at the roguelike campaign content, there's over twice as much content in this version. Like it has 2 levels more than the original, which only had 2 levels. It's like the original In Death is like a like a tech demo compared to this fully fleshed out game. What Super Bright has done with this is nothing short of amazing, and it just makes me wonder, Roots, why? Why can't we get this on Quest? I mean, on PC rather. Why can't we have
Hmm.
this on PlayStation VR? How long is Super Bright going to sit here and work for free? Pretty much, they're doing all these free updates. They've made this game into a masterpiece. Why not bring it to other platforms now, man? There's so many more players that they could be reaching out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't want to go to the dying platform of PC VR, you could at least go with PS VR too, right? It's maybe they will be, but and you have to consider too. And I don't know how it all works, and I don't know what the agreement was, and they could be completely different titles as far as everything goes. But there may be some agreement that says you'll never bring this over to compete with our other game because we want our game to be better on this one platform. I don't know. I don't know how it all works, right? So
Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing though, just how great Super Bright has has made this title, and that's not to disrespect Soulfar Studios, the original developer of the game.
hmm.
They had an amazing concept, and I think Super Bright's work just basically shows what an amazing concept that Soulfar Studios originally came up with. It really uh, allows the game to fulfill its potential. Um, Silence says Siege of Wave Shooter Edition. Yeah, Siege of Heaven actually is a wave shooter. That's correct. It's a wave shooter mode. Uh, but it's first of all, it's really good. It works with the archery style, and there's other elements at play, which I guess there with any good wave shooter that's true. Um, but it's the wave shooter modes in this game. The gameplay resembles the campaign gameplay enough that you don't feel like you're doing something entirely different than you would be normally. You're just the gameplay is actually remarkably similar. There's just no movement. You're just staying in one spot instead of making your way through these procedurally generated levels. Um, but with that said, like I liked Siege of Heaven already. Um, but this latest 360-degree level that they just put in is so much better. Typically, the original Siege of Heaven levels, you would have a gate off to one side of the screen, and then you would have enemies kind of entering the scene from all of these different um, entry points, doorways, archways. I mean, um, these uh, these levels have a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of different places that the enemies could come from, and I mean before, with when all the enemies stayed in front of you, but now that gate that is typically off to your side that you're trying to defend, you're in that gate, and you're kind of up on a pedestal, and basically this level now is like 2 or 3 of the original Siege of Heaven levels. It's just all around you now. And what's so awesome about it is it really, really puts a lot of importance on the directional audio, which is perfect in this game.
Mm.
Because now that enemies can come from anywhere, the only way that you know where they're coming from is by listening. You always have to listen so that you'll know where the next one's coming from. Um, it's really good. It's again, it's a masterpiece of a game that they just continue to polish and polish and polish. And I've been playing this level now. I started playing it yesterday, and I played it some more today. After I got home from work, I just come home and picked the headset straight up. I didn't even sit down. I just grabbed my headset as soon as I came through the door and started playing this, um, because it's so good. And I've just been wanting to get back in since I stopped yesterday.
So you don't have any desire to play it D style, cheater style, crossbow?
Computer style? No,
No.
no. Actually, I don't even. I've been playing in the tournament mode because it is seasonal content. Every time they launch a new season, they have a tournament. They call it, which
Hmm.
is basically they reset the leaderboard. They unlock all the achievements so that everything's the same for everyone who plays,
Hmm.
and like the top so many players um, get I don't know, so like they get a spot on like a Hall of Fame board or something
Ooh.
like that, and everyone who like plays gets legends points. And I never like had any legends points before. It always bothered me that I played this game so much, but I had 0 legends points. So I said, you know what? This time I'm going to play in the tournament. Not that I think I'm going to get anywhere close to placing in the top of it, but I just need to get some legends points just so it's not 0. And that's why I went into it. And I'm glad I did because again, it's just so much fun.
You're gonna win it. That'd be cool. How cool would that be? You just like have this amazing run, and you're just like, oh my god, crazy.
Thomas McNostril says, "Kiss your wife first tomorrow, Wes." Well, yeah. Well, what you got to understand is I get home at 8 a.m., brother. Like people are flat when I get here, So it's pretty quiet when I get home.
Yeah, Spry Guy says it got
kind of-
reverse questicled.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It doesn't happen often, but every now and then, the reverse happens of what you would expect.
Yeah. it should.
Anyway, it was really interesting, Roots. I was talking to you this earlier about how I get tired after playing a few of these runs through the Siege of Heaven thing. When I played it yesterday, I played seated as I typically do, but I played in like a normal kitchen chair with no swivel, no arms.
Hmm.
I just sat and played it. I played 3 times, and I set my high score on the second run. First time I played it, I was better than 50% of the players that had tried it. Second time I played it, I was better than 70%
Ooh.
of players that had tried it. I come in today and I say, you know what? I'm going to stand up. I bet I could beat my high score if I stand up and I can move around and turn more quickly. It is 360, so if I'm not stick turning, I bet I'll do better.
That's good logic.
3 or 4 times I tried and didn't come anywhere close to what I did on that second run.
It's because you're
So I
trying
took,
to. You know what I mean? It's like when you're just playing to play. Stupid coffee maker.
well, here's the thing, Roots. After that, I took a 5-minute break. When I put the headset back on, I sat down and immediately beat my high score.
Crushed it.
As soon as I sat back down, I beat it by like 10,000 points or something like that. I am now above 75% of
Ooh.
the people who have played it. And I've got about 10 or 12 runs in thus far. And I'll probably be back in there this evening before I go to work. And, I've been teasing for a couple weeks now some exclusive content for the patrons. We're going to record a couple runs in this
Ooh.
new 360 level so you guys can see what it's like. Again, patrons, stay tuned for that. I'll have a video up for you guys in a few days.
That's awesome. Phil Yarn says a humble brag, or I like to say flex. And Derail says he plays in my mom's swing. Well, you do you, and that who else plays in my mom? I guess of course she plays in her swing.
My mom!
It's her swing.
I get that. I get the premise. We know what direction you were going with it, so it would have been a funny joke. Anyway, In Death Unchained Season 5, active now. Tournament mode open for about another week. So those of you who want to get your Legends points, get in there now and do it while you still can. Yeah, and I don't know what else to say, man. It's awesome. Check it out.
Okay, let's do this.
Go get him!
Whoa!
Shock across the PC VR gaming landscape this past week as In Dreams announced that the heretofore PSVR exclusive Fracked will be exclusive no more as of May 5th, 2022. Roots, one of our favorite PlayStation VR games, finally coming over to the dark side of the Force and allowing people to play with thumbsticks for the first time. How cool is that going to be?
That's gonna be amazing. And what was cool is when we were playing Rec Room, right, and doing the interview, we even asked, or you asked, if they were planning on bringing anything over to PC, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, what day are you gonna release this?" And then he told us about this news, and we were like, "Oh my god!" I was excited because I never really played through the full game. I played that through the demo and some of the other, but the tracking and just everything that holds the PS VR back. I was kind of hoping if I held off, I'd be able to play it on either the PSVR 2 or another platform, and my wish was granted. And it's like right here, dude. It's next month, May 5th, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be very long at all. A couple weeks, and we'll have this one in hand, ready to play. And I'm glad, Roots. I'm good. I'm glad that I have an excuse to go back in there and play it again because it was such a good game. Absolutely beautiful art style. We're now going to get to super sample it up and check it out in next gen hardware, which is going to be nice. And again, um, you know, they didn't reinvent the wheel here or anything. This is a fast-paced shooter with, I would pretty much class it as arcade style, but it is story-driven and action-packed, and has a very unique cover-based gameplay style that you're kind of grabbing items and pulling yourself behind cover in this. It's a little different than some of its predecessors with regards to this genre. But it's an extremely well done game. Really, the only knock on it is that it's very, very short, which is why it's so awesome that this thing is coming to Viveport Infinity. As I understand it, immediately, as soon as it launches, this is going to be available on Infinity. Now, is that going to be some kind of a Infinity annual thing? I don't know. Typically, these really good games are, but I don't really have any information on that as of right now.
Yeah, even if it is, how many games now do they have that are annual that you get to keep, right? And that's what Mash was pointing out and stressing on his show, You know, a lot of people don't really think about it this way, but you know, it's this Viveboard Infinity is designed kind of like Netflix. Games come and go, and you might, even if it was on there, say for a month, you play Fracked, you play a little bit, you go back in a month and it's gone because it's now rotated. I don't think it would be off that quick if that was the case. But if you have the annual, you own it. You play it forever. Even if you decide to walk away from Viveport Infinity forever, you now own Fracked and a bunch of other games, Saints and Sinners. The more games that they add to this list, it makes the annual, just like everything else with Viveport, a no-brainer, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And Viport Infinity is long beyond a no-brainer at this point. If you, especially if you're a new PCVR gamer, maybe you're a Quest gamer who just got a link cable. I mean, that's the first thing you should pick up is Viport Infinity.
yeah.
Scion asks, is there oil in the game? Well, there are streams of goo, which could be oil. It's a very the art style is it's very unique. It isn't uh, realistic at all. I mean, it is kind of cell shaded, but it's done in a unique way. It has its own look, very stylized art style in this. There's also explosive barrels. They probably have oil in them too, but um,
That's where the oil is stored. Feels amazing too, right? The game is amazing.
yeah. Again, it's fast paced. There's a lot of verticality to the level design. You're climbing up, you're skiing down. You're climbing up, you're zip lining down. It isn't all just go, go, go. Uh, I mean, it reminds you a lot of Blood and Truth in some ways because it has that same type of action oriented vertical, vertically designed levels, and again, story driven gameplay. Um, it's just a very limited amount of it, but uh, there have been rare occasions where we've recommended 3-hour games that cost $30, and this was one of them. And I don't back off of that. I mean, if this weren't coming to Infinity, I would still suggest it for $30.
$10 an
Just
hour.
because,
That's cheap.
yeah, right. It's just it's really good if you like shooters. This is a really good one, and
Best skiing in VR,
I'm happy. Yeah,
right?
well, the skiing parts are the best. The skiing levels are the best. The only problem is there's like what, 3 of them. There's
Yeah.
3 skiing levels, and that's it. Um, yeah, it's a blast while it lasts, and I
Yeah.
can't wait for PC players to be able to experience it.
Yeah, Wes is a poet and he didn't even know it. Paradise Decay says, you know who else likes to get fracked?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she likes to get fracked real good. I think it's one of the best games I've played, and the only flaw I had from with it, aside from the shortness, which I didn't really have that problem because I didn't play through the whole game, was the limitations of the PSVR, the tracking, and I couldn't do it. There's certain games I couldn't do it because it's so good that I just really wanted the freedom, and I'm so excited when we heard that news, right? So
Well, for what it's worth, I had no problems with tracking with this game. Now, again, a lot of that has to do with how you have your camera set up and stuff. But this game was very much designed with PlayStation VR and Move controllers in mind, and they optimized it for that. And I think it played great on PlayStation. I'm just looking forward to being able
joystick.
to see this game in my G2. Uh, well, I mean, no, not really. I mean, the Move controllers work fine on it.
See,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's the
sure,
thing.
it's going to be.
It wasn't for me, but I don't like the button thing. I haven't played it enough to really get used to it, and so every time I try to use it, it's like relearning again, and what was my problem. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to crap on
Um,
PSVR, but I'm excited about PSVR 2 so much that I'm almost allowed to crap on it now because the PSVR 2 is going to be so amazing.
Anyway, this one was very intuitive. I mean, they did what so many other developers miss, and they made it so that literally, the big move button in the middle of the move controller, that's what you press to move. It's called the move button.
Hmm.
You press it with your thumb, you point your controller, you move in that direction. It worked really well. Phil Yorn says PSVR has the best games. I was playing the Persistence yesterday in the CV1 and played, and it looked amazing on the OLED because of the dark palette of that game. Yes, it's the Steam version of Persistence has had some pretty substantial updates too graphically, which really helps it out. I thought about Roots one day if we ever need a topic, it would be a really interesting list for us to put together, like the top 10 former PSVR exclusives that are now available on other platforms, because there's some really great games that used to be PlayStation exclusive that now everyone can play.
I think it's a really good
And
idea.
yeah, Persistence is one of them. Tetris Effect comes to mind, obviously. Polybius, and I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of really good ones, and we could have a good discussion about that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derail does have a good point. He says, I don't mind short VR games since I rarely finish any of them. And I'm the same way. I like to finish a really good game. And I don't finish many VR, something like Asgard's Wrath is just so big and so long that I would never finish it. So,
Right. Right. Well, I mean, you got a point there. I didn't come close to finishing Asgard's Wrath, but I've got probably 5 times as much time in it as I have in Fracked, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we were very happy to learn that this was coming to PCVR when we talked to our friend Jimmy on location in Rec Room. But that isn't all that Jimmy told us about. He told us that later that week there would be another announcement from In Dreams, and this one pretty cool as well. This story from Peter Graham at Good Morning Web3. Next week, we'll see In Dreams publish its first third party title in the form of Little Cities by Purple Yonder. This last week, though, the studio has revealed what's next for its new publishing arm, a culinary adventure from Big Brain Studios, currently under the working title of Sushi Ben VR. With an anime inspired art style, Sushi Ben VR is all about saving your favorite sushi restaurant by convincing locals to come and eat there. That doesn't mean slicing and dicing up some amazing sushi from the sound of it. You need to, quote, help townspeople out of predicaments in order to earn their trust. Sushi Ben VR utilizes 3D manga panels to tell its story, with the game loosely based on a colleague of Kane Tyler, head of Big Brain Studios, used to work at a similar establishment. Quote, when we started work looking for publishers, In Dreams was the first one we wanted to send our pitch deck to. And after speaking to just about every other VR publisher, In Dreams wound up being the publisher we connected with the most, said Tyler in a statement. I'm thrilled to have In Dreams support, and I can't wait to share more about the game in the coming months. Sushi Ben VR doesn't have a release date just yet, simply that it's coming to all major VR headsets at some point. Roots, an interesting choice from In Dreams for their first title to be a city builder. You know, not that that's a bad thing or a good thing, but it's a very specific uh, audience that you're going for when you put a game like that out. And we were given an idea from Jimmy earlier, again when we were in Rec Room with him, that they would be announcing their second publishing title this week, and that it wouldn't be, you know, it would be something for a little bit broader of an audience. So when I first saw this title, Sushi Ben VR, I thought, oh my God,
Mm,
they're doing a cooking game. No, they're doing a cooking game. Oh no. Roots, it's not a cooking game. It's not a cooking game. Thank God it's not a cooking game. This is a narrative driven adventure game in a manga style, a comic, uh, Japanime style, art style. And I'm relieved, dude. I'm relieved because I was really scared for a minute that they were going from a city builder. Again, a good city builder, a very good city builder, but still a city builder into a cooking game. And we've got enough cooking games, bro. So I couldn't be happier to announce that this is not a cooking game. This is a narrative driven adventure game. And that's cool because that's the type of game I like.
yeah, absolutely. I was afraid we were going to see a mash rant on this thing if it was a cooking game. Definitely unique, definitely cool. I mean, like I don't know what's going on in this restaurant, but it seems crazy and it makes me want to check it out, right? If it was a cooking game, even though I love Jimmy, well, I would check it out, but I don't know how much I'd enjoy it probably, but I definitely want to check this out. It looks cool and yeah, super cool.
I think they have potential with this one too, Roots, because this kind of genre is popular amongst younger people, and the younger crowd, especially that we're seeing these days in the Quest 2 community. I feel like they could have a hit on their hands here if this game actually turns out to be good,
Mm,
which I'm confident that it'll at least be decent through the tutelage and support of the team there at In Dreams.
yeah, absolutely. I wonder who Ben is. How did Sushi Ben, you know what I mean? Could have been Sushi Wes, Sushi Roots. I think that would have what
Uh,
Sushi Wes and Roots.
the funny thing is, we have a few of these sushi places in town here, um, and it's always a very American name like that. It's like Dave's Sushi, John Sushi, Ben Sushi. So it's true to form, at least for my life experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's gonna be cool. Can't wait to check it out.
I agree with that. And how about In Dreams? Really quickly before we move on, two announcements, 1 week, and bro, they're just now warming up. This isn't even the smallest tiny fraction of what they have planned for the rest of this year in terms of announcements. Obviously, our on location, very edited, um, and he couldn't be quite so specific with some of the later announcements. Only that there were a lot of them coming, and some of them are going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Anyway, if you guys haven't checked out the On Location episode with Jimmy Bowers yet, check it out. We just published it last week on the channel. Um, Great talk, fun gameplay to watch. I watched that episode back, Roots, and obviously I had to edit about half of the jumbotron out, um, but the parts I left in there, action packed, fun to watch, and a
Did you
lot
see
of cool banter.
did you see the part where I jumped up on those blocks and I was waiting for those things to come through? I was nailing the enemies and I was like saving the day. I was the hero for about a minute. It was cool. You guys didn't know
Yeah,
because you were all on the other side.
I put you in. I put that specific part in
Did you?
your point of view.
Oh, I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I'll have to check it out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I did. I did the jump cut thing where we trade back and forth. So like when I would go down, it would cut to you. When you
oh,
would go down, it cut back to me. Uh,
that's
Pretty good
awesome.
video. You guys should watch it. I
I'm
stayed up
definitely
all
going
night. I stayed up all night editing it. People, go watch it.
to. Well, dude, you do such a good job on those videos. I'm definitely gonna go check it out.
Getting ready to shoot another one. I'm looking
Yeah,
at you, Tiffany.
I'm excited about that one just because I love Tiffany.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Chris Richardson joining us says, "Howdy, y'all. What's up, Chris? Thanks for stopping by."
Yep, and Chi-Town D says, Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. And I can't think of a better segue than that to the next one, right?
Another one here from Harry Baker at Upload VR. Developer Pontoco has debuted a new trailer for its upcoming VR puzzle game, The Last Clockwinder, alongside some new announcements of new funding and publishing partnerships. The trailer isn't too dissimilar to the one we saw this past December. It shows off the basic premise of the game: create an automated chain of robots to solve puzzles, fueled by gestures and actions that you perform in VR that the robots can then mimic perfectly to create a supply chain. Pontoco also noted that the concept for the last Clockwinder didn't start out as one designed for VR. Quote, "We didn't set out to make a VR game initially, but we stumbled upon this mechanic, and the more we played with it, the more we realized that we had to make this game. We wanted to make an automation game, but where you are the machine." The studio announced two new partnerships this week, one of which is with Cyan Ventures. The core Cyan team is best known for its seminal adventure game Myst, as well as its upcoming VR title Firmament. But the Ventures arm is the publishing team that's also working on other VR titles like Area Man Lives. The other partnership is with Robot Teddy, a consulting and funding team that worked on Superhot VR and is also helping bring Among Us VR to headsets soon. The last Clockwinder is set for release later this year in the summer for both Quest 2 and PC VR. Ruth, it's interesting that they say that they didn't set out for this to be a VR title to begin with, because when you look at this mechanic that this puzzle game is kind of built around, it's something that you can only do in VR, which makes me wonder what their original concept even was.
Yeah, that is actually very interesting. I'd like to watch a documentary or at least somebody talk about it. Very curious. Alien Kara says, I think there's better ways to play with oneself. It's all up for opinion on what you like to do. You know what I mean? I agree with you, but this looks cool. Diz was saying it's kind of a ripoff from Transparent. I was kind of thinking the same thing in a sense, as far as it's similar to Transparent, but it looks like this. There's so much going on. I don't know what I would be. There's too much almost. Like there's even a point where there was people handing the sticks around with the fruit, and then there was the piano playing. And how do you do it all at once? I don't understand. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, the way this game works is you kind of build the chain yourself. You start at the very beginning with, obviously a problem to be solved or a set of problems to be solved, and basically, each piece of the chain or the puzzle, if you will, you do it yourself using your hands. And what you're doing is you're basically training a robot to do exactly what you're doing. So you'll start at one end here. Say your mission is to move a box from one side of the room to the other. So you'll start at this side. You'll pick the box up and hand it off to your right. So when you step away, now there's a robot there who picks up a box and hands it to the right. So then you'll move over the next area and you'll grab the box and now you'll push it forward.
Mm.
Now there's a robot there doing that. So basically, you're using your movements and your gestures to train robot surrogates to to kind of create an assembly line style chain to solve various puzzles and problems. That's the concept of the Last Clockwinder. Um, what I mean beyond that, which is a um, uh, very unique concept that you can only do in VR. It also appears to have a very pleasing to the eye art style. We'll say it looks very polished,
Mm.
and I would imagine that that's probably prerequisite if you're going to have Cyan publishing your game, Cyan rather
Mm.
publishing your game. There's probably a certain level of polish and quality involved with this title. So Cyan's involvement in this just makes me all the more interested in it,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the final product comes out this summer when this game does end up on PC VR headsets as well as the Quest library.
Absolutely. PD's happy that you said Clockwinder. I'm assuming this is my assumption that there's other people that have covered it that they've said Clockwinder. My assumption would also be my first thing is look, it's Clockwinder. You're winding a clock, so I kind of thought the same thing, but I don't know. We're just
Or maybe it could be like what Thomas McNostril said. He said, "Tell your mom it says Clockwinder with a L, clock."
That's right. That's right.
Travelman 3775 in the chat says they are publishing Area Man Lives 2. Scion has a voice actor trailer for it on their YouTube channel. Yes, they are also publishing Area Man Lives as well.
Cool.
Yeah, Scion Publishing, Scion Ventures, if you will, very active in the VR space, especially. So cool stuff coming from Scion on both ends of their operation.
Yeah.
MG Solid Boss says, when you getting back on the Fallout, fella? I wanted to this past week, man. And if I had been able to stream anything, it would have been Fallout. I just, the schedule's been very hectic lately. And editing that on location this past week basically took up any bit of free time that I had. And I was dead. I was dead the next day after that. So as soon as I can get back in and stream again, we'll be back on Fallout. Hopefully this Tuesday night, we will return with the Fallout 4 streams.
Yeah. I want to know what's going on with the synths. So you definitely need to get back in there. There's a storyline there that's so weird. And I never made it too much further than where you're at. And I'm intrigued in the story, and I don't know if I'm going to go in, so I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to get back in there on Tuesday, but I don't, you know how it goes. Shit happens, so
Wes is
we'll
very
see.
wise. He never pins himself in a corner because that by doing that, he always does what he needs to do, which is good.
All you need to do is make sure you've clicked that big red button and that bell, and you'll know it. Actually, the best thing you can do is join our Discord because
Yeah.
I kind of that's where you'll hear it first. Like YouTube will tell you a half an hour before I'm getting ready to go live. Sometimes they don't. But I always put it out there at least an hour ahead of time on the Discord. So if you really want to stay up with what we're doing, especially with these live streams, uh, Discord invitation down below.
Yep.
Anyway, the time is ticking away. As it happens, we only have one more thing I'd like to talk about, and then we can bust out and enjoy our holiday. So one more gem of a game to talk about. This article comes from Ben Lang at Road to VR. Initially released in early access on Steam in 2018, VR roguelike Compound is slated to get a Quest 2 version following its 1.0 version on PC, its developer says. Though little known, Compound is the 5th best rated VR game on Steam and the 12th best rated according to the Steam 250, which uses its own algorithm to determine rankings. Created by one-man indie developer Bevan Not Dead McKechnie, Compound was originally released in early access on Steam in 2018 and has seen slow but steady development ever since. The game is a roguelike with a unique pixel art style and an arsenal of fun weaponry with which to experiment. Now that the developer is homing in on the 1.0 release of the game on PC, McKechnie tells Road to VR that he's planning to build a Quest 2 port of the game once the PC version is complete. Both the 1.0 version of the game and the Quest 2 version are expected to launch this year in 2022. Graphically, McKechnie expects the Quest 2 port to be quite similar to the PC version of Compound, thanks to its lo-fi art direction. The game's public roadmap shows that Compound may also see some updates beyond the 1.0 release, including the possibility of custom level support, more weapons and mutators, and a non VR version of the game on PC. Roots, this game has kind of been a cult classic that we've continued to hear about throughout the history of our channel. This game's pretty much been around as long as we have, and it's had its fan base, staunch supporters the entire time. This game, most well known for a very generous demo that used to be quite popular back in the day, but has since then seen many new updates and iterations. And I don't think I've ever heard a bad word about this game, although I've never played it. So kind of cool that not only is this game getting ready to finally hit full release on Steam, but make its way over to the Quest community as well.
Yeah, such an amazing game. I'm surprised you haven't played it. The visuals, it makes you really that feeling of being inside an arcade game or an old school video game. It's so good. The gunplay is amazing, and it's just a fun, very well made game. So was it Cyan says he's surprised it's 5th best Steam VR while nobody knows about Grip VR. Well, Grip
know,
VR
right?
has only been around in VR for a lot less than this game, and not everybody's into racing. And this is the big one. They I'm pretty sure that when Compound VR came out, they didn't use somebody puking in the trailer. Now that's just me. That's just my opinion. So I don't know. But yeah, this is an amazing game.
Chris Richardson says, "What? Get in there." Yeah, I know, bro. There's too many games. There's too many games. But I've played enough of these pixel art games to know that they can be a great load of fun and pack quite a bit of nostalgia, warm fuzziness with them. Excuse me, as well. Um, it's interesting the popularity of these retro style pixel art games, especially on PC VR, just goes to show you who the early adopters of VR really were.
Mm.
You know what I mean? While Quest 2 is bringing in, people and players of all ages, um, kind of the PC VR early adopters are all a bunch of old farts like us. But no, man, I've always thought this looks cool. I've never taken the time to get in there and check it out. I'm sure that I'm going to love it when I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's coming out soon. Well, we don't know exactly when. I guess summer, right? Is that what they said? Space Dennison says he stands by puking in the trailer. It was awesome. Yeah, it definitely showed what the effect for some people in VR, right?
Thomas McNostril said, "This been out so long. When it came out, you only had stubble."
That's very, very true. Actually, that was only like a little bit over a year ago. Well, not really stubble, but it was definitely a short goatee and mustache for sure.
Anyway, I know there's so many people in our community that are fans of this game. I just wanted to share this with people. Um, Coming to
Exciting.
Quest this year, apparently, and then not only that, but getting a 1.0 proper launch on Steam this year as well. So, hopefully, this is kind of the event that this game has always needed, because the article's right. Even though it is highly rated, it's not like everyone in the world has heard of this game or played it.
Mm.
So if it's really as good as everyone says it is, let's hope that this Quest launch brings the developer good fortune going forward.
It should. If it's anything like this, Phil Yarn says it's 120 at 120 hertz. It's amazing. And Chris Richardson says it blew him away how you can peek around corners and blind fire. That's the thing that makes you realize this isn't just a retro remake. Yeah, it's built from the ground up. This one guy. That's the biggest thing that people were. That's crazy, right? I mean, it just shows you how somebody can be an amazing developer and just tirelessly for 4 years work on their baby and make it amazing. And now it's ready to, like you said, the world's going to see it now on the Quest 2. I guarantee it's going to be amazing. Or it's going to do amazing if it's like the PC VR version.
All it takes is mention Quest 2, and now Scion's ready to turn his back on it. He says, "I'm going to play my Lone Echo 2 to erase this game from my memory."
Mm-hmm. Well, and
it's charming. It's charming, Scion. Come on, bro.
It's definitely charming. And Wolverazo's right. There is a fine line between retro look and just lazy graphical design. And you can tell the ones that do it right, it feels right. It's amazing. It's like, oh my God, I'm in this world. And then other times it's like, okay, they've kind of lazily made it graphically pleasant for Quest 2, and you can tell it's questicle. That's what a questicle game is. But I will throw this out there. It's fewer and far between than it used to be. Like Wes was saying,
Yeah.
You used to see those skins on, not even a year ago. A lot of really good games that we had those wallpaper skins, and I won't. It was the only thing I didn't like about it. But yeah.
Well, I'm just glad to see that one of these early VR devs, one of the early indie devs, manage to stay in the game long enough to make some money. You know, a lot of these guys that were making PC games in 2018, they're no longer making VR games
Yeah.
now that there's actually money to be made in it. So it always makes me feel good when I see stories like this, where the guy, I mean, you know, it's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to sell his game on Quest, but he absolutely has a lot more potential for earning now as a VR dev in 2022.
Right. And if it does well, then his next game will have street cred. Like it does to me. I think the Quest 2 version, because how good the PC version is, has street cred, and this will give more. And it's just, you know, up from there for them. So good for them. Or him. I'm assuming it's a team now. It probably started as a one-man show, right? He has to have hired somebody to help by now.
I don't know, man. 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up our gaming news this week. I want to thank everyone who showed up in the chat to hang out with us today. And I hope that you all have a happy and fun holiday, spending it with your loved ones, if that is indeed what you're doing today. Again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. If you like the video, give us one of these right here. And if you want to hang out with us and talk VR all throughout the week, be sure to join us in the Discord server, the Virtual Strangers Discord. Invitation link in the description down below.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, with that said, I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
was just saying, absolutely. I was just reading Mind Drive, said there's a deal tip in there. I'm not going to read everything in there, but definitely a good deal on Humble Bundle. Check it out.
Oh yeah. We cut the deal segment this week, but yeah, we were definitely going to get to that Humble Bundle pack next week. $18. You can get Vanishing Rails for $1 with that thing, Roots.
Ridiculous, man. Crazy.
Humble Bundle, VR, brand new VR bundle. Check it out. Anyway, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you early on Wednesday for the Meta Gaming Showcase live reaction. See you next time, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.